This morning, we're going to be talking about stress, internal pressure that's boiled up inside of us, and how to hopefully relieve some of it. And so, we have those 5 strategies that are going to help reduce this internal pressure that we put on ourselves each and every day. Enjoy the morning show. Cheers, friends.
Financially free and enjoy more of what the world has to offer in this action one, because this is where most human beings screw the pooch.
So a little one-person trampoline, very
If I screen shared it, like there's no excuse. Like phone numbers are just out there. You just got to pick up the phone, smile, and dial. So.
Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk to Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercise to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most, right? This is who we do it for, and today we're talking about stress. We're going to talk a little bit about stress. Get this on here. And more specifically with stress, a bit of a broad category, I wanted to really refer to this internal pressure. Let's maybe give some context. So when we're going through day-to-day, say if you're at work, say if you're trying to get stuff done for your personal health, maybe you're trying to work on your relationships, you're just in the hustle and bustle of the day. And you start to feel some pressure on yourself. You start to feel some anxiety. You start to feel some stress creeping into the body. Maybe you hear somebody say something that you don't particularly like. Maybe you show up to work on time and then they slap a big pile of books right in front of you and they're like, all right, you got to get through all this stuff today. And you start to feel a lot of this pressure that we have to perform at a certain level, that we must meet this certain standard. And setting standards is good, and we want to be able to perform. Where it can be a little chaotic and a bad thing is what I'm alluding to is this pressure that we put on ourselves, this self-induced, self-created pressure. And this is what we really want to try and work on. So stress, it causes so many changes hormonally in the body. It can affect how we absorb everything from absorbing nutrients to digesting food to just blood flow. So we want to be very careful with stress. It has its purposes and it can be very helpful, but I know personally I don't handle it the right ways, and I'm going to be stressed no matter what. So we're never going to have zero stress. That's just not going to happen. If we want to achieve great things, say if you want to build a big company, say if you want to help a lot of people, stress is essentially inevitable. So it's going to be here a little bit. So we might as well learn how to handle it and have a better look at it so we can really reduce this internal pressure that we're creating for ourselves. So I'm more so talking this morning on the stress category, this internal pressure. And I'm so sorry I keep blinking like crazy. I got a cat hair in my eye or something, but the show must go on. So good morning, everyone. And we have on here 5 strategies to reduce internal pressure. So the first on our list is prioritizing self-care. A lot of my internal pressure comes from me wanting to do big things with my career, me wanting to help a lot of people, me wanting to perform I have a vision for the future and I want to perform at this really high standard. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. But we got to be careful that we're not just going all out trying to chase money all the time, because there's that old proverb that's so beautiful. People will spend their entire lives chasing bags of money just to spend them all back on to get their health. So we want to avoid pushing self-care to the side to chasing things like monetary success, to be chasing things that are outside of ourselves to create these standards, maybe write these books or whatever external objectives that we have. We want to make sure that we're making progress towards those, but not at a sacrifice towards self-care. I'm sure you can think in your own situations, those hard, long working days where you couldn't work out, you couldn't eat healthy, because I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time. Have enough time for what? For work? For money? for the things that you would, where if I were to tell you what's more important, your health or your money, your health or your career, your health or the books you got to read, the books you got to study for school, whatever it may be, you would probably pick your health. But people, we tend not to treat it this way. Our actions don't match logically what we say. If we go up to anybody, again, we're seeing or hearing them say that health is more important, but our actions tend not to reflect it. Whether it depends on the types of drinks that we're having, we're drinking something unhealthy, or say if we're smoking, whatever it could be, we want to make sure that we're prioritizing self-care, because I believe when the pillars of health are in alignment with our actions, stress naturally tends to go away. So when we work out, I get this, probably the biggest benefits for reducing stress on the self-care side of things is meditating and working out. When I meditate and work out, stress tends to, and this internal pressure I have of, I got to do good, I got to do big things, it tends to melt away a little bit. So that's what's first one on our list is make sure we're prioritizing self-care, and that can really be a good internal pressure stress reducer. Next up we have is the challenge of negative self-talk. We can be so hard on ourselves. Have you heard of that you're probably your biggest critic? I'm my biggest critic. This isn't good enough. That's not good enough. I'm not good enough. Go figure, the classic negative self-talk. We visualize ourselves on the ground, kicking ourselves in the stomach, throwing another jab right to our own conscious mind, however we want to picture it. What I'm saying is we beat the crap out of ourselves, and it's pretty brutal. And no wonder why we have so much pressure and we want to do so well, because when our actions fall a little short, because everyone has their days, everyone gets stressed. We've recognized this, we've accepted this, but when that stuff comes up, we want to really stop beating the crap out of ourselves and challenge this negative self-talk of, I'm doing fine. That's not true. Because so much of stress, in my experience for myself, is I'm just being so hard on myself for absolutely no reason. Well, the reason, there's always a reason. Is it the reason's not always justified? It's not helpful, but I believe there is always a reason. So my reason is I believe I'll perform better if I'm really hard and I grill the crap out of myself. But we've seen from positive and negative reinforcement within psychology that that's not always true. It's not always helpful to just call yourself a piece of crap. Go figure, falling behind again. Of course, classic Tanner, every damn time doesn't show up or do it right. When it's like, I've done it right. Say I didn't work out one day. And it's like, I've worked out 20 times this month. Like, Jesus, dude. And so I think we can just take a step back, challenge the talk that's coming in. We might not know where these thoughts are coming from, but when they do become, then we accept the monkey mind. Cars on a highway, it comes in, we let it go. So next time you have challenging self-talk, you want to, sorry, I'm tripping up on my words really bad this morning. So next time you have negative self-talk, we want to be able to challenge this. We want to be able to recognize it, because recognition and acceptance are going to be the first steps in letting it actually go, because we need to let this crap go, or else we're going to create a ton of internal pressure inside of ourselves. So challenge that negative self-talk that comes in, or else that stuff will eat you alive. Next up, I would say we can really reduce a whole lot of stress by learning to say no. We talk about the power of no on this show quite a bit. And I want to ask you this wonderful Friday morning, what will you say no to this weekend in order to reduce your stress? Maybe you say no to helping that helping that person who does nothing but cause stress and chaos in your own life. Maybe you will say no to just interacting with certain people on certain topics. So we have family members, we have friends who we want to communicate and talk with, but you know what I'm talking about when there's certain topics and ideas and stuff that's like getting into that stuff with these people, whether it's politics, just personal philosophies or values. That's like, it's just toxic waste coming out of their mouth. And we have no business talking to them about it. So we're going to say no to those type of conversations. Maybe we want to say no to some junk food. Maybe you want to say no to drinking alcohol. Maybe you want to say no to smoking. What do we want to say no to? And I think having that, being able to stand our ground, being able to decide and act accordingly by saying no to the things that cause us stress can be really helpful. Another classic example with learning how to say no and how that's so helpful, a couple people who I coach, and this happens to women a lot more than men, but taking on so much added responsibility and just not even realistically being able to handle it, and then going all crazy and mad because you're pulled in a million different directions. And this is very, very stressful. And this puts a lot of pressure on ourselves. So being able to learn to say no, I think, can be really helpful. So be very honest with yourself. Before you say yes to something, ask yourself, can I realistically do this? Do I realistically want to do this? And is this going to help both parties create a win-win situation? So learning to say no. Next up, third on our list, no, this is actually number 4, my apologies, is to embrace imperfection and limit social comparisons. When we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, it's usually along some idea that where I am acting and my performance is not at where I want to be. There is a gap between my performance right here, right now, and my expectations for my performance. So there's gap, and so often we see it. This happened to me a lot in sports more than anything. I'd be playing basketball, and every time I shot the ball, and it wasn't a perfect swish, which I wasn't that good, happened a lot, I would just get so mad and just berate myself. Oh, I'm so off today. Oh, I'm terrible. I suck. Just this intensity that because my performance did not match my perfection. Now I'm in the gym, I'm training, I'm getting better, I'm exercising, I'm having fun. Those were like the best moments of my life. And I feel like I missed a lot of it because I was so frustrated about not being perfect and winning all the time. So maybe this morning you can reflect that to your own experience. Maybe there was your sports that you used to play, maybe just interactions you've had, games that you've played where you missed out because you wanted things to be so perfect. I know one of my friends who I went golfing with not too long ago. It was kind of not that fun, to be honest, because every time he went to shoot and it wasn't a perfect swing, he got all mad and frustrated. So when we do this, we literally turn off our ability to connect with other people as well. So it's like a double lose when we want to really be careful of this like perfection concept. And the other side of this coin, I wanted to add on here for a reason number 4 for stop stressing, reduce stress in your life, is just limiting social comparisons. Everyone's at such a different chapter. Everyone has different tools and experiences, family members, friends, jobs, just everything's so different. And for the longest time, I was really bad at comparing myself to people like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, dude. Like this guy's out here. He's been hammering this out for like over 40 years now. And of course, he's a master guru by now. And I just compared like how I'd speak, how I'd talk, my performance, my willingness to work and do this to people like that all the time. And then I felt really inadequate. And then when I felt inadequate, I felt kind of sad. And when I felt kind of sad, I would start to get angry and frustrated and get all riled up about these, just comparing myself to other people who are in completely different phases of their life. And I just kick the crap of myself. And that would cause even more stress and internal pressure to try and change myself. So very dangerous loop that we can easily fall into. Okay, now we got this one. Again, a struggle. These are all ones that I went through. This is a very selfish list. I struggle with all of these myself. And I imagine that a lot of you guys do as well. But giving yourself permission to rest. So this weekend, if you want to watch football, you can watch football. If you want to eat something unhealthy, you can eat something unhealthy. As long as we are continuing to make progress and we can sit down and you can say, if we're in a coaching session, I have the privilege of coaching you someday, and we're sitting down and like, okay, what were you learning this week? And what did you take action on this week? And if you're not proud of, and you don't feel like that you're making the adequate progress that you want to, and you're not being so hard on yourself, and you're setting realistic goals and expectations and everything for what you want and where you're at, and you can write something out nice and you can present it to me, then you're doing fine. And it's okay to rest a little bit on the weekends. It's okay to rest for a moment. I know we're just talking about being perfect and how that stuff drives people mad, and perfect isn't a reality. It's just a concept. And we can give ourselves permission to rest, hopefully, in the actual week, during the day. When the moment comes, are you actually resting? What's another example of this? I went on vacation. All I wanted to do is, throughout my career, I just want to make enough money to go on vacation with the people I love, do sick crap all the time. You hear what I'm saying? And I went on vacation. I got to the beach. And what was I thinking about? Something else. I was thinking about work. I was thinking about how I didn't do this good enough. I was thinking about how I didn't do that good enough, how I need to take more action. It's like the whole goal was to get to the beach. And now I'm at the beach, and I'm not even at the beach, if you know what I'm saying. Mentally, I'm just somewhere else. So we got to give ourselves permission to rest. Because what are you fighting for? What are you working so hard to attain? Are you working hard so you can have good conversations with your family members and have those peaceful moments? Oh, I get to talk to my kids. Oh, I get to talk to my parents. Oh, I get to talk to my friends. Is that what we're fighting for? So when we're actually doing it, can we be present to it? Or say if we're just resting in general around the house. I know I've seen some of my clients, they'll work 10-hour days and they'll come home and then they can't give themselves, they feel bad about sitting on the couch and watching 1 hour of television. It's like, Jesus, like, what do you really want to do with your life? Do you want to just work 24/7? Is that what you actually want? Is that what you're fighting day in and day out for? Is to just work nonstop? I know that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to work so I can just work some more. I love my career and everything, but too much of anything, in my opinion, is not good. But we can't really rest, it seems, if we don't give ourselves permission to rest. So maybe you ask yourself this wonderful Friday, is it okay for you to rest? Are you in a state of where you need to take some action and then you can rest? What's the balance for that? What does that really look like for you? So giving ourselves permission to rest can be a great stress reducer and help alleviate that internal pressure. Of course, it wouldn't be a Talk to Tanner morning show if we didn't have a bonus on here. Bonus 4, and this was Stop Stressing, 5 strategies to reduce stress. And the last one we have as a bonus here is set boundaries with technology. I'm a big believer that our human brains have not evolved fast enough to handle the TikToks, the Twitters, the Instagram, the TVs, the NFL, all of this crazy stuff coming in at massive stimuli into our brains 24/7. I believe our brains we're not ready for it. And so no wonder why everyone's all riled up, and you wonder why anxiety's running through the roof now more than ever. It's probably something about stimulation problems, and technology is not slowing down. So if technology is not slowing down and the fast trains keeps rolling by, I'm going to set some boundaries. And what is a personal example of that? I deleted all the social media apps off of my phone. I have this one GroupMe app where I just chat with my friends. It's like an IM messaging for chatting with friends. Absolutely love it. Get to talk to a lot of my homies that way. But other than that, nothing else on my phone. I don't have Facebook, Instagram, all of the socials that I use for the show. It's all on my laptop, and I work on my laptop for certain sets of the day. Little in the morning, little around lunch, little in the evening. Boom, walk away from it. Cool. And that's been working really well with me. but that's my personal example. Maybe you have your own setup that you need to do. Maybe you just only look at your phone at certain times of the day. Maybe when you're working, you set your phone outside. Whatever it is, the bonus recommendation I have for reducing stress and reducing this internal pressure would be to set some boundaries with technology. Maybe you cut your TV time back. Maybe you cut your smartphone time back. And there's actually a lot of tools and supporting things that can help with understanding how much time you're really putting into these apps. Say if you look at the screen time app on your phone, depending on what type of phone you have. But check it out and just see, everything I believe needs some type of boundaries, and we don't want too much of anything, right? We don't want too much work. I don't want too much working out. I don't want too much of anything. Rounding out the wheel of life and keeping a nice healthy balance, I think this Friday is our goal. So let's do an inventory. And just for my social media guy, we're going to run through these really quickly. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this morning on the Talk to Tanner morning show, episode 368. We talked about 5 strategies to reduce this internal pressure. First, make sure we're prioritizing self-care, health, working out, meditation before anything else. Next, we have challenge negative self-talk. Next time you beat yourself up or you think you're a loser, challenge that crap. Stop listening to these stories and false narratives that are just simply not true. Next, we need to learn to say no. If it's a responsibility that's not in alignment with our number one goal, we say no to it. Next up, we have embracing imperfection. Nobody's perfect, and you have a lot of beautiful things about you, and focus on those. And then not comparing ourselves so hard to other people. And number 5, give yourself permission to rest. When you want to rest, rest. When you want to work, work. And if we can do that more often, I think we can take a lot of our pressure. And additionally, we had our bonus for boundaries with technology. This was 5 strategies to reduce stress. Hopefully you guys can all reduce your stress. Of course, I'm always a big proponent of breathing exercises, meditation, and working out. Those stole the show. I think that's why they came in at number 1. They've helped me reduce stress more than anything else. And yeah, we want to reduce stress, because when we're not stressed, imagine the type of person you can be consistently when you're not stressed out all the time. Think about the type of person you are when you're all riled up, you're really stressed out. Are you a good learner? Are you a good listener? Are you a good communicator? Are you a good friend? Are you a good mom? Are you a good brother? Probably not, because stress eats away and does crazy things to our hormones, and it's really hard to be the person we want to be when stress is so prevalent. So hopefully you can reduce some of your stress. If you need any help with this, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to help in any way I can. But that's all I have for this show. And in case you needed to hear it, I love you. You're a badass. Let's reduce some of our stress and take some massive action towards our goals today. Cheers, friends. And if you thought this video was good, please share it. That would mean the world to me. Share it. We're trying to get these messages and these missions out to as many people as possible to try and make it a happier and healthier world. Cheers, friends. That's all I got. I'll catch you guys bright and early. I get the weekend off. Let's go. So it's gonna be pretty. I'm pretty pumped about it. And I'll see you guys live 8 a.m. Central Standard Time next Monday with another episode of the Talk to Tanner Morning Show. Cheers, friends. Peace.